Welcome to Tracing Your Family Roots. My name is Arlene Sachs. This is Sally Ann Sachs. And today we're delighted to welcome Nadia Lipes. Welcome, Nadia. Nadia is from Kiev in the Ukraine. Got to say that people may not know where Kiev is. Sorry, but that's the way
and
Americans
you never
are.
say the Ukraine anymore. You say
So
Ukraine.
Okay. And she's a professional genealogist and a guide. So we're going to be talking about the Ukraine today. And because you're a genealogist and a professional genealogist, you might be someone that we would write to and ask for help. So what we want to do today is find out what you need to know from somebody from here if they want to ask you to do something.
Right. What do people, when somebody writes to you and says, I want to hire maybe you to research my family, what kind of questions do you ask them?
I'm asking them how full information that they have, because very often they are trying to apply to a researcher, and without discussion with their relatives, what kind of information they already have. And very often it's happened like research is done and nobody was found just because after a couple of months they have some letter from their distant cousin which is saying that they lived in a totally different place, even like that.
So you need people to be very clear about where the relatives came from.
Where the relatives came from. All these people need to understand that, first of all, I can't guarantee result, even if you know from where this person was from. One thing only that I'm doing, that if I can see that result, that I can't guarantee a result, I mean, because there's missing documents or something like that, I'm saying the truth, that I can't take it, but I can't guarantee you maximum 15% of satisfaction. And the person should decide if he's taking this risk or not. Or the most important things that I'm saying to all of my clients, that I can guarantee you only that documents exist, but I can't guarantee you that your parents were not lying.
Yeah.
Because most of the times people were lying. They were lying about their last names, they were lying about, even not lying, they were changing their given names for something else. They were lying about their age. And very often they were using documents of somebody else to come to the United States. And not often they were changing it back.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we talked about earlier that I think is very important is that even if nobody's lying, your grandparents said you were from one town, and as you mentioned, something I never heard of before is that they were registered someplace else, and that's where you really have to look for the records then.
Yeah, and you might not know about that just because it's not your profession. But from another side, you can open the map and search.
But
how this place were changing their place. There's a lot of jokes about some Jew who did born, married, educated, and went to pension from the different countries, but it was the same Munchach.
Yeah. Yes.
So, but Munchach is not alone.
But what you also were saying is there were many places that had the same name. Mm-hmm. So before we ask you to go look, we should interview everybody in the family and say, what other town was it close to? Was there a river? Find anything you can learn to put your right town in the right place, because you might go looking 100 miles in the wrong direction because sometimes there was more than one Horodenka.
Yeah, and nobody will be found there.
Right, but you have a wonderful story about a local Jewish genealogist, Michael Richmond, who's belonged to our genealogy society for 30 years, I think, who has been looking all those 30 years and hiring other people. And you found something, and I really think it illustrates a big point, and it has to do with the family name. So tell the story.
I have two different stories. One about incorrect registration place, and second one about incorrect family names. Points a story about family name. In my database, I am never searching full surname, just because the end could be always different. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to be able just to realize what is correct or not. So that's why such kind of families which have some end, man, burg, brug,
or two syllables, the names
Yeah.
with two syllables.
or whatever, I'm putting only one part of the family name and looking what's going on in the database. So in his case, I gave him two families with two different ends of. And immediately I get a feedback like, Nadia, I'm so impressed. During all my life, I was searching for another end and was not, and was.
You have
nobody-
to tell the name because it's too abstract. He was looking for Brug.
Yes.
Spell it.
No, what was the whole name?
I don't remember the whole name.
But it was just a
The ending-
twisting of two letters.
Yeah.
BRU instead of BUR.
It was
Yeah.
BRUG or BERG.
It was like Schwarzburg, and in fact it was Schwarzbrug.
Okay.
Yes, and BERG or BRUG. But it would sound the same, actually.
Yeah.
But he was not thinking that it could be that name.
And many people are doing the same thing. I have another example. A guy right now live in Israel. He's Russian immigrant from like Ukraine, and he has a family name Pletinsky. And I started to search by his relatives just for fun. I mean, he wasn't my client; he was my friend on Facebook. After a couple of searching, I understood that his original name is not Pletinsky. His grandfather's school's documents are saying that he is Peletinsky. But registrations document from the census 97, from the census 75, from the census 58, we have two different groups of people that are close relatives. I mean, it's the same family. But in one place is Plotinsky. It's definitely not the same as Pletinsky. And also they have Peletinsky, also they have Platinsky. And it's all the time, it's the same people in the same places.
Well,
they have the same name. Why it happened? Just because each time a guy who was writing this census was not so well educated, or they were not talking loud, or
he was
whatever,
drunk.
or he was drunk very often, or he doesn't understand the Yiddish spellings or something, and he was not looking to the previous documents, because very often we can find the corrections. I mean, that he's writing something that he is here. After that, he's coming to his office and checking the same families with previous censuses. And he realized that spelling was incorrect, and he's just writing up to correct family name, correct.
Well, that was a conscientious worker then, if they corrected it. But I think we have the same problem with any kind of census as anywhere you didn't correct. People couldn't. The average person couldn't write, so they didn't correct them.
That's why you need to search different spelling versions, especially if you're talking about Jews. Just because Yiddish spelling was different, and in Hebrew you are not using, for example, letters like yeah, and so on.
No vowels.
I'm not saying about that U and or it's like the same letter. That means it could be Borg and he could be Burg. And like Yiddish spelling would be definitely the same.
Same, yes.
But Russian version could be different. And if they even had the same family like 200 years ago, in Russian transcription of one brother, they are going to be a Borg, and second people are going to another place and they are Burg. And it looks like it's separate families, but in fact they are the same people.
So,
the same place.
so what you're really saying, but backing up to the person who's sitting here in the United States and wants to hire someone like you, you're saying, do all your homework first before you.
Yeah, just to be sure, and this homework will help you to understand how educated is the person that you're applying to, because you can check a person that you are trying to
Hire?
hire.
How do you check?
You're very simple. If you have all information before, You already done some search in open sources about what could be found about these cities. For example, you are joining Jewish Gen or some genealogical groups on the Facebook and asking people that did the same research before. So you have some imagination about what archives you would find your information. And you are going, again, you are asking somebody about, do you know anybody who did this research before? And it's more easy to take somebody who did this research before, just because this person already knows all the fonts that he can search. He don't need, because you know, I told in the previous show that we don't have any open information. That means that each time, if I have some new city, I need to go to the archive and to take index books, and I need to start from this index book, just because we don't have any online resources. Now, and if I know about the city, if I did search there, I don't need to go anywhere. I already know how many documents could be searched, how much it will cost, and all of the stuff.
Right. Speaking about cost, how do you, over the years, we have heard many complaints on Jewish Gen and other places in Avotenu. Somebody hired somebody and they didn't feel that they got their money's worth, blah, blah, blah. So we always advise people, speak to the person you're hiring in the beginning, and be sure you two, both of you, understand what you agreed to do. So how do you tell people when they write to you? What do you say to them about your charges, about how you charge?
I'm saying that first of all, I'm not answering for questions like my family is from Russia, how much it costs to search it. And it's general questions.
You sometimes get something like that?
I mean, 90% of people are writing such kind of letters. So I'm saying that we don't have something general. I mean, not only Americans asking the same thing, like all people that are trying to search their roots asking the same kind of question. So I'm saying that you need to send me all information that you have, and as more information that you have, as cheaper would be the cost of the search. Just because I will not spend my time to find the information that you already have, and this happens very often as well. Just people realized after the search that they have some more information, and this information is much more helpful than information that they gave me before.
I heard somebody once say, well, all she sent me was stuff I had before. Well, why didn't you tell her
you had it? Exactly.
I have no idea who it was.
Yeah, very often.
Yeah.
It's like general situation. Like, but I know that. But you didn't. You
didn't tell me. I still had to do the research for it.
Exactly. So when somebody agrees that somebody sends a letter and they've done all their research, then they have a couple of choices. With you can look to see if you know that their records exist. What do you do?
Yeah, it depends what cities they're trying to search. For example, if they're trying to search some Poltava region, this archive does not exist. I mean, archives exist, but there is nothing about all the Poltava documents because it was destroyed on the Second War. Archive.
Oh, so the old notary records and police records, even those are gone?
No, these documents are not going.
Oh.
I mean, I'm talking now about direct sources.
Like, you mean
like metric books and census books.
Okay, the usual stuff.
Yeah, usual stuff. And I'm explaining to people that if you are searching in this kind of archive, you have two options. First of all, if you need to find something in this archive, it could be only police records or wall test records or tax records or something like that. But you need to know together with it that most of Poltava people came 50 years ago from somewhere else.
Oh, yes. Do you know that's, Arlene, about Ukraine? You correct me if I'm wrong. My memory is that really I think about Ukraine in two sections. One is the part of Ukraine that once belonged to Poland, and that would be Volyn and Podolia and Vinnytsia. Well,
it's central Ukraine as well, because only Kiev was on the Russian
and then
side.
There's what they called the new territories. After Russia had a war with the Ottoman Empire, with Turkey, and Turkey lost, Russia took, you say them because I don't say it right,
Херсонская губерния, Екатеринославская губерния, Таврическая губерния, but it was empty place.
Right, they were just grass. And then the government needed people to populate them, and somebody got the idea that they will invite Jews to come
that's
down.
how the Jews got there.
That's how the Jews got. So you can take up this. So those are really interesting to me, because what was it, like 1860 when was it?
No, much before. They started to move 1823.
Really? I thought that war was later. Okay.
No, first colonies was built on 3741, and most of the people were from Kurlandia.
Oh, really? And those records from Latvia, in the Latvian archives, they have lists.
Yeah, and we all the time we have doubles document, because Kurlandia and Latvia and Litva people were more structured than Russian one.
Right.
So all the time, even if this family is living in Yelizavetgrad gubernia, for example, and they already first merchant there, I mean, famous people, even they change officially their registration place just because they had money to do it. Kurlandia people was continue to think that they are locals, and they are asking for the documents from
Right.
from
We had a
Ukraine,
story about that.
and it's going back. I saw such kind of documents as well.
But so okay, so different parts of Ukraine, you're going to have different kinds of documents. You know the term chain migration, when an immigrant comes someplace, and then people all come from there. So in some places like Ekaterinoslav, which is now the Dnepropetrovsk, I think, I know from my friend Harry Boonin that some of the people in that city came from Slutsk in Belarus, because he found documents that showed that chain. And so you get a different kind of, you can get more further back information from that.
I think that once I will make a map, like who was immigrating to where.
A wonderful idea. Maybe you'll do a nice story for Avotena.
No, because it's very complete, and the people were never changing. And I don't understand why, but I have a couple of examples with mixing people from Volhynia and central Ukraine. It was like, for example, Volhynia had been 14 years inside, and Kiev gubernia have been like 15 years inside, and a couple of the ideas were very close to each other. But
you have to tell people what that is. It's a district?
It's a district,
Okay.
like district cities. And the people from one district were never mixed from like their neighborhood district, but they were all the time mixing with like their neighborhood district from another side. I don't know why, but this is a fact.
Okay.
I can see it because of the family names.
Okay, so in a place like Poltava, where you don't have any of the census and metric records, what do you tell, if I'm asking for something?
I'm saying to these people that they also can ask me to check my central gubernia's database, and not modern one, but it's possible, of course, as well. But better is to search first censuses of 1818. I mean, this time that the same people which now are living in Poltava, Ekaterinoslav, whatever else, was still living on their original places of birth.
Of registration.
Yeah, but for such kind of search, of course, you need to know many given names, and for people that already were born in those times, or you need even to have some ideas what could be their given name.
So that's
why you need to ask many of your relatives about their given names, their Hebrew given name, of course.
Yeah, because the names would pass down.
Right. So you can look in that database, but is there a deeper kind of research that you could also do with the notary records and the police records? Do you have that database?
Yeah, that's why I started to make index database of such kind of record, because normally you have a person name right on the as the name of case, so you don't need to open the book to see who is inside, because this person is like.
Oh, it's listed on the index. The person's name is in the index.
Yeah.
Now, did you created the index?
No.
Oh, no, this is an index.
So you mean the opuses for the notary records have names?
now I have like a new letter from my workers, because I have 4 people working with me with a new census search. I just will tell you how it looks like.
Well, we can't.
We don't want to.
We can't do that.
Not now. That'll take us too long. Let's go on, and when you find it, you can tell us.
Yeah, I'm talking.
Okay. So what you're saying in the earlier show, you said that you couldn't trust the title page of the index books.
Yeah.
But you're saying that the index is.
But sometimes I can. It depends. I'm always looking on the page numbers as well. Because if, for example, here we have this index from only one part of some index book, because some indexes is like 17 parts inside.
Right.
So it's like in one index you can find something like 17,000 different cases. And I am making this index only about Jews.
Right.
I mean, I'm not writing
so
any.
You're looking down the names of and you're copying the names of the Jews.
Yeah, and I'm copying. For example, I can hear in this, I can find on such kind of index a case about like Itzhak Rubinstein, who was American, didn't pay enough tax, and he was, and the like, government bring him to the court. This is name of the
So
case.
that tells you the name of a person who was living in a certain place at a certain time.
Yeah, and this means it's in this case they're talking about Itzhak Rubinstein. Somewhere down they're talking about Mina Sechevskaya, who is taking money from some Zolochevsky Jew. Or the same kind of case about Cyril Dorfman, Moshka Finkelstein, and I'm just going to the same name. Sometimes it's a case about like Biela Tserka Jewish community asking from Avrom Rybak money that he didn't pay for his treatment in their hospital.
Okay, but here's my question.
In such kind of cases, you know that inside you will find much more than one Avrom Rybak who didn't pay for his hotel, because somebody from community brought this letter, and some other people from community were singing these documents.
So you're getting more and more names from the community.
Yeah, you have more and more names, but I can see it just because of the name of the case, or sometimes you have like this case about Moshka Kushnir and others. And it's like 50 pages.
Oh my gosh.
I can understand immediately that there's many people inside.
So here's what I'm thinking is that if I were you, I would be making my database with all those names, because then I am like making a little census of a community in a certain year.
Yeah.
But for the for your client, how are those notary records? What do those notary records give them that helps them?
For example, it's impossible to take money from somebody for indexing all these indexes, just because I can't guarantee nothing. And I mean, I need to make some count drafting or whatever, just because it's a huge amount of information, and nobody can pay for that.
Right.
But it's very useful information.
Right.
So if I have such kind of case,
right,
and I'm seeing that the client has some notary will, for example, I'm taking his specific case, and it's a will. That means that it's written there that I am Moshka Rabinovich, son of Abraham Rabinovich, have such kind of property and money, and I want to give to my second wife such amount of money, and for my first son from my first wife such amount of money, and the
wills are wonderful.
The name of my wife was like that, and my daughters are married with somebody, so my granddaughters need to have money as well. So I have all family information.
Wills are the best. Wills are the really wonderful things. So that are wills in the notary records?
Yes, of course. It's like notary people.
We don't use notaries in the United States almost at all. So
how are you giving wills?
You take them to the court. You take them to the court.
No, it's like notary and lawyer. It's quite the same kind of
but the lawyers
person.
don't keep separate records. The lawyers, the will would be filed with the court. And you will not have in the archives papers from the lawyers.
Till now, we have all our documents which we are writing in notary places, like notary people are hiding them.
And then their collections go to the archives?
Yeah, in the end of the story.
Well, we have records of wills because.
Well, but the records of wills are filed with the court. But
the
there's
whole
no
will.
Sure, the whole will. But the lawyers' papers are don't go to the
lawyers' papers are private.
Right, don't go to the archives. Yeah.
But they are private, but they are private only 75 years. After that,
But the
like
lawyer would
open,
describe them. They belong to only him.
No.
this is different.
They must remove them to the archive.
Right, they must
And
keep a book of their transactions.
Yeah, and sometimes it's easy when you have indexes with the family names of these people who are doing some operations. But sometimes, even in notary books, we have like acts from 1905. So this means that you need to take this book to open it and to
see what's
list
there.
all the people what were inside. The same thing with police documents. Sometimes we have a lot, only private names. It's this one, for example, most of them from the courts. But sometimes in army censuses.
Okay, we're down to less than 1 minute, but there was something that I wanted to point out that you happened to mention before. We've been talking about what you're doing and about Ukraine, but you also made the statement that many other countries will have the similar kind of thing, the Eastern European countries.
Because it was usual practice. Like first
In
of all,
the
old Russian Empire had the same kind of sources, and each archive would have the same documents.
Structure. Yeah.
So
Same
some of
structure.
what you've said when you're dealing with an genealogist in another country, you would ask them if they understand how to look
only the Pale of Settlement.
in the Pale of
The former Russian Empire, Imperial Russian Empire, had the same archival structure. So in Lithuania, they're going to have notary funds, and they're going to have collections of police records, and they're going to have index books. It's the same kind of thing, right?
Yeah, because after my article about census 1875, I've got letter from somebody from Lithuania who is asking, can you send these documents for our archivist? I'm asking for what? No, she needs them. And I'm asking this woman because I know her as well. So why do you need these documents? And she's saying, because we had the same type of documents, but we didn't have titles. So we had no idea what is it. And now we know.
Because of your article.
Right, because of my article.
I think that was Galina.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Right.
Well, thank you very much. It has been really very interesting to me because it's very foreign to me.
Oh, right.
It's not.
But it's a